Okay, y'all, so I'm going to be teaching you today about indirect objects, okay? So go ahead and get your notes out, okay? And then that's going to be the title. It's going to be Indirect Object Pronouns. Okay? All right, so in your notes, go ahead and put this as the star, okay? So your indirect object can be identified, identified by asking the question, to who or from who. Okay, so in my example, we'll have Paul throws the ball to Lance. Okay, so that's the example. Paul throws the ball to Lance. Okay, so in this sentence, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify my verb first, which is throws. That's my verb. Okay. Previously, when we did this sentence, we identified the ball as my direct object. Okay. So now if I use this question, to who or from who, to who did the ball get thrown? Okay, it's going to be to Lance. So Lance is going to now be my indirect object. Okay? Okay, so really easy. Your indirect objects, pronouns, okay? So remember, your pronoun is a noun that takes the place of a verb, okay? So if I wanted to rewrite this sentence, Paul throws the ball to Lance and not use Lance, I could say, Paul throws the ball to him, okay? And now him becomes my indirect object pronoun. Okay? Because him took the place of Lance. Okay? So instead of saying Paul throws the ball to Lance, I can say Paul throws the ball to him. Okay? And him becomes my indirect object pronoun. Okay? So your indirect object pronoun, and sorry if you can't really read my handwriting, I know it's really ugly on the iPad, okay, are as follows. You have two. You have Louis, and that is if my, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite a new note, y'all, because I'm just continuing down, okay, so don't be freaked out with the new page. Okay, so you have two indirect, object pronouns, okay? You have Louis for singular nouns, and you have leur for plural nouns. Okay, so the cool thing about this one is that you don't ever have to worry about if your noun is masculine or feminine. You only have to worry about if your noun is singular or plural. Okay? Okay, so in the example, we'll do le médecin parle à Pierre. Okay? Okay, so you have in the example, the doctor talks to Pierre. Okay, so really easy, y'all. Once you have it translated, all you have to do is ask yourself, okay, so the question is to who or from who? Okay, it's obviously going to be to Pierre. Okay, so then once I replace to Pierre with one of my direct object pronouns, I have to decide, okay, am I going to use Louis or am I going to use leur? Okay, so remember, lui is going to be for singular and leur is going to be for plural. So I'm talking about Pierre. Is Pierre singular or is he plural? Yeah, he's singular, right? It's only one person, one Pierre. Okay, so then I would replace Pierre with Louis. Okay, and now when I want to rewrite the sentence, it has to be le médecin lui parle. Okay, so in there, I want you to note that the indirect object pronoun goes before the verb it's linked to. Okay, and so obviously the verb that we're talking about in this sentence, just like we identified before, is parle. Okay, talks. Okay, so whenever I want to rewrite it, and instead of saying the doctor talks to Pierre, I want to say the doctor talks to him. Okay, him is Louis in French, and that Louis needs to come before parle. Okay, it needs to come before parle. So in this sentence right here, okay, I'm back on my example. I have my verb right here, okay, and my direct object pronoun. So the direct object pronoun, the indirect object pronoun comes before the verb. Okay? All right, I'm gonna do a couple more examples. Okay, so let's have, I'm gonna put ma mère achète des cadeaux pour mon frère. Okay, so what does the sentence say, y'all? Ma mère, my mom, achète, buys, des cadeaux, some gifts, pour mon frère, for my brother. Okay, so the first thing, remember, you want to identify your your verb. Okay, so the verb is going to be obviously achète. Okay, that's going to be your verb. Okay, that's to buy. Okay, or in this context, it means buys. Okay, my mom buys some gifts for my brother. Okay, so you want to say again, you ask yourself the question. Okay, so to who or for who? Sorry, I know I put from who. It should be for who, y'all. Okay, so for who? It's gonna be for my brother. Okay, so mon frère, my brother, is going to be now the indirect object. Okay, so if I want to replace mon frère, the indirect object, with an indirect object pronoun, remember I have two choices. I have lui and I have leur. Lui for singular, leur for plural. Okay, so which one am I going to use if I'm talking about mon frère, my brother? Okay, good. It's going to be Louis because it's singular, right? Because it's just one brother that I have. So that is going to be replaced with Louis. Okay, so if I want to now rewrite the sentence, and instead of saying my mom buys some gifts for my brother, I want to say what? My mom buys some gifts for him. Okay, and him becomes my indirect object pronoun. Okay, so if I'm going to rewrite that, okay, I'm going to have ma mère. Okay, so I chose Louis, and again, where is Louis supposed to go? Good, it's gonna have to go before the verb. And in my sentence, I told myself that achète is the verb, so it needs to be ma mère lui achète des cadeaux. Okay, so now my mom buys him some gifts. Okay? All right, we'll do one more. And I have le médecin parle à ses patients. Okay, so what do y'all think that says? Good. The doctor talks to his patients. Okay, so where's my verb here? Good, it's going to be parle. Okay? And so now when I say it in English, the doctor talks to his patients. I'm going to ask myself the question, to who or for who? Who does he talk to? His patients. Okay? So his patients now becomes my indirect object. Okay? So now, if you wanted to say it in English, okay, replace his patients with an indirect object pronoun. So instead of saying the doctor talks to his patients, you would say the doctor talks to them. Okay, so I don't want to say his patients. I'm now going to say the doctor talks to them. Okay, so I have to decide now, is my indirect object singular or plural? His patients. Yeah, it's going to be plural. So am I going to use lui or leur? I'm going to use leur. Okay? Alrighty. So again, now that I have my indirect object pronoun, leur, it's going to go where? Before the verb. So now if I want to rewrite my sentence, it's going to be le médecin leur parle. Okay, so here's my indirect object pronoun coming before the verb. Okay? All right. I hope that wasn't too confusing for y'all. Remember, if you have any questions, I'm going to be here for office hours tomorrow between 11:30 and 12:30, okay? I'm also going to include underneath this a link to where you could go for some extra practice activities if you want to do those activities. Okay? Alrighty. Au revoir tout le monde. I will see you on Tuesday. Okay? À mardi. Au revoir.